Hey, I'm Eran, and yes, I'm addicted to After Effects. I eat, sleep, and dream keyframes. For over 30 years, I've been teaching the software, crafting over 40 deep dive courses, writing tutorials, and even helping shape some of its tools. You can say I'm practically part of the code. Being an experienced horse in this race, I'll let you decide how old I am. I've seen tools come and go, features evolve, and a few, let's just say, overstaying their welcome. In this tutorial, I'll dive into 10 features I think could use a glow up or a graceful exit. Now let me be clear, this isn't a hit piece, it's more like a love letter from a motion designer veteran who cares a little too much. It's subjective, it's opinionated, and it's all in good fun. If you got a different take, drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's nerd out together. The composition flowchart, a relic from a bygone era. If you right-click in the comp viewer and choose composition flowchart, you'll open a panel that feels like it stepped straight out of 1998. Down at the bottom, you'll spot your comp name with a tiny plus symbol. Click it and voila! A node-based tree appears showing all the bits and bobs that make up your composition. But here's the thing, After Effects is a layered-based app, so there's not much you can do with this flowchart. Sure, you can double-click a comp or a layer to open it, only to lose yourself in a maze of panels, but you can't actually add or edit the flow. It's strictly a visual guide. Contrast that with the more modern mini flowchart, also known as the tube map of After Effects. Just hit Tab anywhere in the interface and it pops right under your cursor, giving you a quick, intuitive way to navigate and manage compositions. It's cleaner, faster, and dare I say, actually useful. So maybe it's time to wave goodbye to the old composition flowchart. Let's clear out some visual clutter and let the outdated feature retire gracefully. The concept behind team projects is solid. Remote collaboration in After Effects and Premiere Pro without needing fancy hardware. Sounds like a dream, right? But let's be real. How many times have you actually used it? Once? Twice? Never? Exactly. Here's the timeline. It started as an exclusive feature for enterprise licenses, because of course. Then during COVID, Adobe graciously opened the gates to everyone, and then they closed them, and then they opened them once again. And now most people are like, wait, what's Teams project again? Well, truth is, while it's a lifesaver in Premiere Pro, and I've had a few successful collaborations there, it feels like an overkill in After Effects. It's clunky to manage, and for most of us, not really necessary. If I need to collaborate on a project these days, I rather use the Frame.io option. It's intuitive, web-based, packed with features, and as a bonus, it comes bundled with every Creative Cloud subscription. So yeah, team projects, great idea, but for After Effects, it feels like a sweater that you got last Christmas. Nice in theory, but not really your style. The Wiggler and the Smoother, the dynamic duo of, wait, why this is still here? They're like those one-hit wonders from the 80s. They had their moment, but now they're just taking up space. The Wiggler lets you select keyframes and add wiggle behavior to either the temporal or spatial graph, with some options for smooth or jagged noise. You input frequency and magnitude values, you click apply, and you get keyframes everywhere. But honestly, why? A simple wiggle expression gets the job done faster, easier, and with way more control. If you need noise and time finesse, just pop open the expression library and grab the full wiggle expression and you're golden. The smoother panel isn't much better. It reduces keyframes based on a tolerance value, but it's destructive, meaning once you apply it, there's no tweaking without starting over. Again, why bother when you can just slap on a smooth expression, tweak the values in parentheses, and keep things non-destructive and infinitely editable? Let's face it, both of these tools feels like fossils in the already cluttered window menu. I say it's time to let them ride into the sunset and make room for tools that belong in the future of After Effects. Who's with me? The Mask Feather tool, a feature that promised to blur the lines literally between masked and unmasked areas with smooth, customizable transitions. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, like many things, the reality didn't quite live up to the hype. Here's how it works. First, you'll need a mask on your layer, which makes sense. Then, switch to the Mask Feather tool, which hides under the Pen tool, and share the same keyboard shortcut. Why? I have no idea, but don't worry, I'll show you how to fix that. Once you've selected the tool, you can start adding feather points to your mask path. But here's the catch. This tool is high maintenance. The feather direction you drag is locked in the moment you release the mouse, outside or inside the mask. Change your mind? Too bad, so sad. You'll have to start over, so planning ahead becomes critical. Spontaneity? Not an option. Now, let's talk animation. If you think animating these custom feather points is going to be intuitive, think again. They are not linked to the mask's anchor point, and they don't even show up in the timeline. Move the mask and the feather points might decide to throw a tantrum, resulting in an unpredictable chaos. Frustrating? You bet. To be fair, this tool came out before Rotobrush or any of the AI-powered tools we are now taking for granted. Back then, it probably felt like wizardy, but now it's more like a fossil of frustration. Here's my advice. Just ignore it. If you want to save yourself some keyboard confusion, go to the Preferences General and disable this feature, Pen tool shortcut toggles between pen and mask feather tools. This way, when you tap G, it will cycle through the more practical pen tools variation, leaving the mask feather tool out of your everyday workflow. Trust me, you'll barely notice it's gone. If we're speaking on masks, what's the reason we still have the mask interpolation panel in After Effects? A feature that seems to exist purely just to hunt us. Honestly, can anyone out there say they're ever gotten a perfect result from this overly complicated tool? If you have, please share your secrets in the comments. Seriously, I'm begging. This panel mission is noble. To help you create smooth, complex animation by blending one mask shape into another. Sounds great, right? You might think, cool, I'll morph some logos, I'll transform text shapes, or maybe even create dreamy transitions between abstract forms. But the reality hits you when you start playing with it. You tweak, you tinker, you adjust the sliders like a DJ at a rave, and you end up with something that looks less fluid morph and more like a melting blob. Again, I must say the idea is solid, but the execution, not so much. Either this panel needs a major rewrite or, hear me out, Adobe could ditch it altogether and give us something actually useful, like a variable font panel. Imagine animating font weights, width, and even slant them with ease. Oh, and while you are at it, Adobe, how about native support for colorful SVG fonts? If Premiere Pro can do it, surely After Effects can step up too. Until then, the mask interpolation panel will remain that well-meaning but ultimately unhelpful friend. Let's hope for brighter days and better tools. This one is a real head scratcher. Nested under the composition menu, the Save Current Preview command has been hanging out in After Effects for over a decade, like a mysterious ghost that never actually does anything. On my machine, always dimmed, no matter how much I plead, click, or stare at it with passive aggressive intent. Even the shortcut Command plus numpad 0 seems to play tricks on me. It toggles the project panel on and off, but leaves the comp completely untouched. I think this command is a leftover from the early days of After Effects, back when the caching system wasn't as clever as it is now. If you had that glorious green line indicating all frames were cached, you could save the preview to disk as a standalone file. Handy for 2005, sure, but now it's just redundant. These days, After Effects handles cached previews automatically, even using them to speed up rendering. So why does this ghost of workflows past still hunt the menu? Honestly, only the After Effects gods knows, and they are not sharing. Maybe it's time to exercise this command out of the interface and let it rest in peace. Until then, it remains that frustrating button that does nothing but remind us of how far we've come. Well, I guess it's somewhat of a good spirit after all. Every copy of After Effects comes with a little bonus, a headless executable file called aerender.exe or something else on the Mac. Doesn't matter, it sounds fancy, and this command line program lets you automate rendering either across multiple machines in a render farm or on a single computer for batch processing. The catch in the batch is that you'll need to set up a watch folder to get it going. Pro tip: selecting this option will close your current project faster than a teenager leaving a dinner table. From there, you'll define a render directory and dive into a maze of setups that will have you questioning your life choices. If you want to learn how to do it, you can trudge through the After Effects online help or try to find a YouTube tutorial that will guide you through the process. But trust me, you don't want to do either. Why? Because it's tedious, time-sucking process, and the kicker, you already have a better, easier, and free alternatives. Take Media Encoder, for instance. It's offering a similar workflow with way less hassle. Or my personal favorite, RenderBrain by Video DNA. It's a free background renderer that works across multiple platforms and takes only minutes to set up. Link is down below, no affiliation, just pure fan love. So while AE render and watch folders sound cool on paper, in reality, they are the tech equivalent of that old fax machine gathering dust in the corner, outdated and better left alone. Let's talk about the paint tools in After Effects, including the brush, eraser, and clone stamp. Now, I'm not saying there are bad tools, but let's just say they are starting to feel older. Now, here's the thing. These tools work, but they are clunky. The brush tool lets you draw directly on your footage, but good luck making it look polished without a lot of trial and error. The eraser tool, useful if you're feeling nostalgic for MS Paint. And the clone stamp tool, well, this is a bit better. It's fine for quick touch-ups, but compared to modern AI tools, it really shows its age. It's not all bad though. Because these tools are based on vector brushes, meaning you can change the settings after the fact, move, scale, and rotate your brushes, which even Photoshop can't do, it makes them unique. But the fact is that you need to work in an isolated mode using the layers panel viewer, which is not ideal and make the process slow and sluggish. To top it off, these tools haven't seen a meaningful update in years. Meanwhile, Photoshop has evolved into a powerhouse with AI-driven features, and After Effects itself has tools like content-aware fill and some advanced plugins that make these paint tools look like snaps from the past. So what's the verdict? The paint tools are fine for quick fixes and playful experimentation. But for anything serious, you're better off just jumping into Photoshop or using a modern plugin. Maybe it's time for Adobe to give these tools a much needed glow up or let them retire gracefully. Let's talk about the stereo 3D camera rig in After Effects. If you've stumbled across it recently, you're probably wondering, does anyone actually use this anymore? Spoiler alert, not really. Now, back when 3D movies were all the rage, thanks to Avatar, this tool was a big deal. Adobe's answer to creating stereoscopic 3D content directly in After Effects was great, and sure, it worked. But fast forward to today, and stereo 3D feels like an unuseful feature and more like a gimmick. Here's the problem. The workflow is clunky. Running a script will set up a left and a right camera and gives you a fancy 3D composition, or maybe more than one. Sounds cool, but managing all of those cameras, especially when you are fine-tuning depth or convergence, can feel a bit like herding cats. And let's be real, who wants to herd cats in After Effects? The bigger issue, stereoscopic 3D isn't that thing anymore. We've moved to VR, AR, and immersive experiences, and the stereo 3D camera rig just hasn't kept up. If you need to create complex 3D content today, tools like Cinema 4D, Blender, or even Unreal Engine are the way to go. Oh, and there's another thing. The stereo 3D workflow hasn't been updated in years, while After Effects has added cool new features like 3D Gizmo and better integration with Cinema 4D and other 3D tools. This poor rig is stuck in a time capsule. It's like Adobe forgot it is actually here. Maybe they assume that we also did. So why is this still hanging around? I guess legacy support. There might be a handful of people working on archival projects or niche stereo 3D tasks who still rely on it. So I guess for those folks, it's a nice tool to have. But for the rest of us, it's probably time to move on. I've saved the best for last, or more accurately, the worst. Did you know that After Effects has a media browser panel? Yeah, me neither, until I stumbled upon it and wondered, why does this thing ever exist? Let's be clear, this is not the same media browser panel you know and love from Premiere Pro. That one's power horse, and it can help you to sort camera card content, preview clips, and even lets you mark in and out points. But here in After Effects, no. This panel's sole purpose is to let us import files or reveal them in the Finder. That's about it. No previews, no clip organization, and forget about favoriting folders, location, and things like this. Seriously, why would anyone use this panel? If you're looking for an alternative, you're better off using Bridge. But let's not open this can of worms today. Instead, let me introduce you to something actually useful, AE Viewer. This media browser can preview almost any format under the sun, including, by the way, After Effects projects themselves, as well as Mogarts. It's fast, intuitive, and available in both 3 and Pro versions. Honestly, once you try it, you'll never look back. I've included a link in the description below if you want to check it out, and no, I'm not affiliated. I just think it's that good. So, the media browser panel in After Effects, a mystery warp in redundancy. Save yourself the trouble and look elsewhere for media management that actually works. And that wraps up my little rant session for now. But honestly, this is just a love letter to the app I use on a daily basis, an app I probably spend more time than with my wife. Sorry, honey. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you have any clever workarounds? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious. And by the way, when you're heading down there, why not take a scenic detour through the like and subscribe buttons? Give them a little click to see how they work. And while you are there, look at this pretty bell icon too. Ring it to stay notified about new content. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Yes, you.